Congratulations, Sega. You did it. Sonic 2. It's the highest grossing video game movie in the US. You must feel so proud, beating out Sonic 1. In all seriousness, though, congrats. I've enjoyed both of the movies, and I've, enjoyed this reboot of the Sonic series. I've always loved Sonic as a franchise. So, I can't criticize. But I am still disappointed in you, Sega, for pulling this move right here. Delisting the classic Sonic games, making them only accessible through Sonic Origins. Who do you think you are? Sega? So anyways, for those of you who don't know, on June 23rd of this year, which happens to be Sonic's 30th birthday, maybe they planned that, Sega is going to release a remastered version of a bunch of classic Sonic games and bundle them in what's called Sonic Origins. And personally, I think if done well, a remaster is great. It lets newer generations play games that older generations got to play, and it lets the older generations play games that they have a lot of fond memories of, but with higher fidelity graphics or life improvements in the game. And sometimes they make it more approachable with the controls and whatnot. But my beef with this situation is that Sega is going to delist all of these games from the digital stores and make them only accessible through Sonic Origins. But why? And, before you start telling me in the comments that the original version is going to be playable through Origins, I know that. I'm frustrated because I thought that Sega was actually going to be pretty cool about their intellectual property. But let me give you a little bit of context why this matters so much. So a couple years ago, I bought the Sonic Sega Pack through Steam, and in it had access to these classic Sonic games, which were playable through an emulator called the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis Classics. A real mouthful. Anyways, I tried playing them in the emulator, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I also noticed that you could buy a bunch of the older games and, put them in the emulator. It's cool. They have the little bookshelf, and you can, when you buy more games, then it shows a little like cartridge in the bookshelf. So someday I want to try it in VR. But I thought it was a pretty cool thing. And I like to tinker, and so I was looking around at the game files, and I noticed in the Steam game, then there's a folder called uncompressed ROMs. And in there's a bunch of files. And for those of you who don't know, a ROM is just a dump of the original game, and if you have an emulator, it lets you play it on different hardware than the original game. So that's like how people play the Super Nintendo or the Nintendo games on their computer or their phone. But anyways, I see this folder, and I'm like, is some intern going to get fired? Like, was this intentional? And, I was apprehensive, but I threw one of the files in an emulator, and it ran just fine. And I sat there and I was looking on Reddit, and I realized that Sega had purposefully done that. And in that moment, I had so much respect for Sega, because a lot of people want to play classic games, but if they don't have access to the original software or hardware, then usually people have to resort to pirating or stealing to get those games. And big video game companies usually threaten legal action against those individuals or the threat of legal action. And in this case, I was impressed. Sega was actually providing ROMs to individuals, and by not trying to hide the access, they were saying, essentially, hey, here's a legal way to get our ROM. Maybe we didn't make the best emulator, or maybe you want to play it on a different emulator. So here you go. Usually people don't want to break the law to gain access. That's why Netflix was such a big deal when it came out. People could watch all the movies and TV shows that they wanted, and a lot of people were putting behind themselves the pirating ways because Netflix made it easy. Steam makes it easy to get games, too. To me, that's why it was such a big deal that Sega just had these ROMs just sitting there. And I thought that if Sega did this, then maybe others in the industry would follow suit. Maybe other individuals like Nintendo would say, hey, maybe it's not the end of the world if we don't limit the way that people can play to our specific ecosystem. But then, with the announcement of Sonic Origins, unfortunately that dream was dashed to pieces. And so by delisting these games from previous platforms, Sega's basically saying, hey, loyal fans, we know that you love this already, but we're going to remove features and make you pay more for something you already had, and you're going to love it. Kind of like how Apple removed the headphone jack, called it innovation, and started selling AirPods right away. Or how like Nintendo wants you to subscribe to their online services and give you access to the NES or the SNES games, instead of just selling you the license to the game, or having a perpetual license. For example, I bought a bunch of Nintendo 64 games on the Wii. When I got a Wii U, which I know is blasphemy, but when I got a Wii U, then they're like, hey, you can rebuy this on this system for a discounted price. And I was like, I already bought this game once. Why would I rebuy it? I already have this. And, Wiis are dying, so eventually my Wii is going to die, and that license dies with it. So I think it's unfair, and I think it's anti-consumer to set up the system where with each new iteration, you have to rebuy the game if you want to play it. And, with Sonic Origins, that's essentially what's happening. You're making it inaccessible to play these classic Sonic games without buying Sonic Origins. And who knows how long this is going to go. Maybe they keep doing things like this in the future. And so I just wanted to make this video and tell you, Sega, that I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed in this blatant cash grab.
Money!
But as a PSA, up until May 20th, you can still buy the digital versions of these classic Sonic games on Steam, and they're still sitting there in that folder. And if you're watching this after May 20th, then I'm sorry, you might not be able to, but I will put a link in the description to the classic Sonic games. They're kind of difficult to get to through Steam, so I'll just have a direct link to each one of them. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like these types of videos, you've made it this far, then hit subscribe and join the channel. I also do live streams every day during my lunch break, so hit that bell icon if you want to join us in the chat and hang out with us. We've got a cool community going. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.